Hello, how are you? Oh, I'm just fine. Still busy in the midst of moving. Well, I hope it will be over as soon as possible, but it just takes a real long time, and sometimes I get tired of it. I wish I wasn't, but reality, yes, I am. Well, wish me a luck. Now, as I talked about it last week, the differences between the American English and the British English today is whether it's E or ending or RE ending. As you know, many English words came from uh, the French language and also from the Greek and the Latin languages, as well as many other languages of the world. However, particularly in the American English, you can find many words uh, which have come from not even European languages, but also from African, Middle Eastern, or Asia for that matter, and maybe some from Pacific Islands or Latin American countries, I would say. However, until the Middle Ages, of course, the British English had strict rules. And today, some of the British English words, uh, their spelling have been changed, and some of them still remain very British, which are different from the American spelling. Because of the population and the mass communication, also, of course, the Hollywood movies, American spelling is more popular, or more people use that in term, especially in the younger generations. Today, I'm gonna list some of, not all, because nearly it is impossible. So some of the words which have different spellings. That means whether that's spelled in the British English or in the American English ways. Okay, for example, as you probably know, um, still very differences that you can see is, for example, center, or fiber, litter, maneuver, meter, somber, uh, specter, or theater. In the British spelling, for example, center, Center, which is identical with the French spelling, centre. Then, but if you really read it, it would be very difficult to pronounce in English. Centre, but it could be center. But ER, then you can put the word sound center. But a centric or centra, some American people would think how that's how it should be pronounced, as the spelling is the TRE ending. But then British English center, or there was a center, right? Well, but here if you are going to put or add suffix al, center to central, for example, a central station or the central information, centre or center, you would drop last E and add AL, the suffix, then central. Now, that's the same for example, theater, theatrical act. Then you only have to drop the last E and add AL. Then theater becomes theatrical. Well, that's fine. But in American English, center would be CENTER. Center, fiber, letter, maneuver, meter, somber, specter, or theater. In the British, they all ending with RE, but in American English, their endings are all ending with ER. So when you have to change American center, CENTER, make it into central, then you have to change entire spelling after letter T. So you're going to have to make it a center of American. CENTER would have to become CENTRAL. Then again, it's going to end up the same as the British spelling. So many words are like that. So just to be careful. Now here, some of the ER, RE differences in words. For example, amber, blister, cover, December, center, filter, gender, letter, member, November, October, proper, September, or figure, or something like that. No, I lied. Figure is not. I would say, let's say, tiger, rah. In American, they are all ER ending, but in British, some people still use RE ending, although many American spelling words are used today, even in Europe. Traditionally, Canada, Australia, or New Zealand, they used to use the British spelling. But as many immigrants started to move into their countries and with the American influence, many people started to use the American spelling. So, can you say it? Amber? Well, ombre, like French, would be British, but amber would be American. So, when you travel in Europe, especially, be aware, don't you think some of the signs on the streets are wrong. They're right because they are spelled in the British way. But in America, also many parts of English-speaking parts of Canada, you can see many American spelling. For example, center, ER ending. But in the British, of course, definitely RE ending. Let's say in Australia, New Zealand, perhaps Malaysia, Singapore, mm, uh, some places like Panama or Hong Kong, you can see both of them. The old ones were still spelled in the British way, I remember. But today, I don't know. Perhaps you can find more American spelling signs there. In African nations, which use English, you can find still many British spellings. So it's not really easy. The English language has become such the international language, I would say. Yet, for the spelling, of course, pronunciation differences, of course, they exist uh, anywhere, not even just in the English-speaking countries, but also in other language-speaking countries, of course. Within the countries, of course, people pronounce differently, which is quite natural. But for spelling, writing, or reading parts, you can find some differences. And people who studied English in the American way, those people sometimes mistakenly think the British ways of spelling words were written wrong. But don't be such hurry about that. Don't jump into the conclusion if they might be right. If they were written in the British spelling, all right. And also some British people accuse some of the American spelling as the misspelled words. Well, both people who really should know there are some differences between the British English and the American English before they start accusing or pointed out as mistakes, right? Uh, all I'm saying is just to be careful. Don't just to say, oh, that's a misspelling. Before you say, think about maybe it's the British or the American. Think about it. Then uh, it means that you understand both cultures, and that tells you how educated you are. All right, that's about it. Next time, let's move on to SE ending or CE ending, for example, advice or practice or license, etc. Take care of yourself and goodbye for now. Eh, Here we go.